This episode of the Justin Robert Young Podcast is brought to you by 345 of the raddest people on the planet at patreon.com/JURY. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Justin Robert Young Podcast. Yes, the only podcast by and for your friendly local neighborhood Justin Robert Young. That's me. It's my name. We do the show together every motherfucking week. Man, it's good to settle back into a routine. It's on the road a lot, and now I'm getting used to being home. This is a fun idea that I'm not running around. I'm not fucking making excuses for a lot of stuff about like, oh my God, I'm in another town. I'm in another place. I can actually start to take care of all the stuff that's piled up over the last year because it's been a busy year. I got a lot to talk about here. Some of it serious, some of it a little silly. This is going to be a very introspective episode. I got a story that I realized I probably haven't told about my origins in reporting and a very, very rough first day at work. I got a little mini review-lits. I got a tech review for the iPhone 6S Plus. I got a movie review for The Martian, and I'm going to ask you something that I have been asked repeatedly over the last week and a half. What do you want to do? Now, I don't know how to fucking answer that. Maybe y'all have a fucking better idea on how to answer that, but you can go ahead and stew on that until we talk about it a little bit later in the show. Let's talk about the serious news. What can you say? A bunch of so there's some shootings. Shootings happen. They are a part of life, unfortunately. And there was a shooting in Oregon this week, which leads to the unenviable moment when we react to it. It's ugly. It's bad. It's painful, and we're in a very interesting place right now in history. Not necessarily because there is an escalating culture of violence, although I'm sure that some people would make that argument, and I wouldn't contradict them because I don't have the numbers in front of me. But the one thing that is 100% true is that we are in an era over the last 5 to 7 years in which it's not just broadcast television news that bring us images of shootings. You know, now it's anywhere that there is horrific, ugly violence. We've got pictures and videos from Twitter and Facebook immediately. Like, it's insane. I remember one time I read a Twitter trend piece. I believe it was written by Will Leach, the former Deadspin editor, who was talking about, well, here's the real worth of Twitter. The real worth of Twitter is breaking news coverage. I think at that point, the Sully, the captain who landed the plane in the East River, East River? I don't know. He had landed it there, and all of a sudden, everybody was like freaking out, rightfully so. It was totally insane. And people who were like on the plane or like on the bank were taking Hudson River, not the East River, were taking pictures of it, and it was being uploaded right there. And so the trend piece made the argument, I think kind of sillily so, that this was the worth of Twitter. And I think that there's more to Twitter than that. But you can't deny the fact that the ugly side of that is that we get to know everybody, all the parts of a school shooting. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I think it's just an ugly thing. We have an almost unquantifiable boom in media right now. It's massive. It's gigantic. And it's not stopping, by the way, because we keep inventing new media verticals, which is a mind-blowing concept if you are used to. I mean, like, I know everybody here is super rad and on the cutting edge of all technology and all understanding of news from around the world. But there was a point in which satellite trucks were the revolution. The idea that you could see something same day, same moment, that images could be carried live from not only outside the door of the studio, but around the world was insane. And now, not only are we so far past that, we're inventing new, very specific ways that people like to interact with this content that is exactly how they want to consume their media. Like, what is Snapchat in that it's different from Twitter? It is just a different way to do it. We are finding increasingly small niches so more and more people can see more and more things. So what does this have to do with the school shootings? Well, I think it is an undeniable part of how we understand it. I think it's an undeniable part about where we are all going to be emotionally affected by it. You know, we don't get presented with a big binder of gun deaths for the year and then look at that historically. We have to, we don't have to, we do, we choose to, and I think rightly so, live and die by all the pain, metaphorically, while people are literally living and dying. You know, we ride that roller coaster. We're part of it. Which brings me to what I want to talk about. There was a meme that went through the internet after the school shooting, for anything that wasn't posting the Jim Jeffries routine about how Australia restricted guns, which Jim Jeffries, one of the funniest comedians, I think, working today. It's very, very funny where people like to pick and choose when they agree with Jim Jeffries, because I love Jim Jeffries. I think Jim Jeffries is great, but there's ultimately, I only see Jim Jeffries routines in one of two settings: people being upset that he's offensive, and people thinking that he is brilliant in terms of gun critique. So, everything that wasn't that was, for a brief moment, talking about reporters and reporting during tragedy. Because there were a bunch of people who after, and by people I mean reporters, there were a bunch of reporters that while the school shooting was happening, or at least after it had, part of it had resolved, people were tweeting about it and then retweeting the tweets of people that were there, which means that news, both local and national, can immediately identify somebody who at the very least claims to be an eyewitness to this crime. So what do? They say, hey, can I talk to you about this crime? Because we're the press and we need to cover it. So you had somebody, and it is a bad picture. I'll tell you this. Somebody saying, oh my God, my best friend was just shot and killed. There's a gunman on campus. And then their replies, 7, 8 deep, are all, hey, I'm a reporter. Can you please follow me so I can DM you? Now, that doesn't look good, all right? It looks really, really, really bad, and a lot of people took exception to it. Why can't you just let this person live? They've been through a tragedy. Why do you need to get up in their face and ask for their story? And I understand that. But I also understand the reporter's position. Sam Biddle of Gawker wrote a blog post that said, and I don't want to misquote him, reporters are rude during tragedies because they're reporting. And he goes on to talk about how it's a really, really rough job, but somebody's got to do it. Which brings me to my story. Imagine the very dignified man, and if you're only listening to me, I'm wearing a very smart sweater and a collared shirt. Married life is treating me well. I was a young man, not but 18 years old at Syracuse University. I had just come across the student newspaper, the Daily Orange, the independent student newspaper covering Syracuse and Syracuse University. I had taken a couple reporting jobs because it's a volunteer thing. So, I wanted to report. They said, here, all right, go ahead, take this. You can go report. I did, covered a few things. And on Monday, I went to, I had interviewed Friday. I took a story for Monday, did the story Monday, and got told that I was hired at the newspaper Monday night. Getting ready for my first day as a paid professional journalist the following morning. Now, this is all very unremarkable until I tell you that Monday was September 10th, 2001, meaning that next Tuesday was September 11th, 2001. I was in a school in upstate New York where the vast majority of the students come from the tri-state area in Massachusetts, which meant that my first day as a news reporter, a paid news reporter, was 9/11. So what happened? Well, I realize, obviously this is big news. I call my editor, Ashley, and I say, hey, which, by the way, I just realized now how much of my life has been spent having an Ashley tell me what to do. I say, Ashley, so I'm going to assume that we're coming in now, right? Like, I'm just going to go ahead and skip classes, and we're just going to come in and report this because it seems like kind of a big story. And here's the weird thing, and I don't want to get really into like 9/11 and covering it, but like, there's a weird element of reporting a tragedy, in specifically that you don't look at it like people who are just experiencing it react to it. From the second that 9/11 happened, for me, it was a news story. It was a huge news story that I needed to be prepared for. I needed to not miss things. I needed to make sure that I did my job now more than ever. So what you don't realize if you've never reported on a tragedy is how many rumors there are. Like, they are fucking legion. They are pervasive, and in many times they can cause real lasting damage and harm. The biggest rumor that you will see, especially in a deadly scenario, is the death toll. How many people died? 9/11, I think that the final death toll was like 3,000, right? I remember I had a notebook that said like 15,000 people were dead. Or was it 300? Maybe it was 1,500. I can't remember. And I really don't feel like Googling 9/11 death toll. But this was just in the towers, and I remember seeing, that there were multiples of what actually happened. The second thing that you need to understand is that if there is no reporting during this, then those rumors become fact, and they're hard to shake. So my job, when I walked in, was, hey, Justin, freshman, been on campus 2 weeks. Here's a list of alums that we have gotten reports worked in the Pentagon or the World Trade Center. We need to know if they're dead. Because we need to report who that has connections to this school died. Because that's our fucking job. And so I spent the next 3 hours calling people. As I'm about to pick up the phone, I look at Ashley Kraft and I'm like, hey, so how am I supposed to do this? Is there like a magic, is there like some, I'm thinking like, oh shit, man, I'm new on the job. Maybe there's some slick ass reporters thing where it's like you can have some flowery prose and get through the awkwardness and just kind of ask stuff. She's like, no. There's no, there's no secret incantation to this, bro. You have to call strangers and ask them whether or not their family member's dead. It's my job. There's really only one way to do it. And I tell her, like, wait, for real? I got to say, is your family member dead? She's like, no. I mean, I guess you could probably just ask if they're there. And if they're not, then you can ask the follow-up question. But if they're there, you can just say, great, and hang up. So that's what I did. I called a bunch of people, and most of it went to voicemail, but that was my job. My job was to ring people and ask whether or not their loved ones were dead. Now, here's where I have a problem with what Sam Biddle wrote, because I think that this is an ugly part of reporting. It's hard. It's not understandable, and it plays to the worst elements of journalists being separated from humans. Now, a lot of this is kind of put on by journalists themselves. I think that there is a general institutional concept that journalists are not mere mortals. No. They are infallible truth bots that descend on an unsuspecting public only to sift fact from fiction so we can have a better populace and an informed readership and viewership so as to make a better world. I don't think that that's the case. I think that reporters are just curious, tenacious humans who can write on deadline. And this is an element that is just not ever going to be understood by people who are not in this profession, because the other side is very hard to explain. And ultimately, even if you are doing something for the greater good that is putting somebody in their roughest moment in pain in any way, even if that pain is something that can rectify massive, irreparable reputation staining lies from gaining traction, even if it's for that, you're never going to get the benefit of the doubt. Ever. And there is nothing that rankles the general populace like reporters acting like they're fucking necessary. Because I don't think a lot of people think reporters are necessary. I think a lot of people feel that their world would go on just fine if reporters didn't exist. So whenever reporters put on their capes and act like they're the hottest shit on the planet or they're doing something for the greater good, maybe it's true, but if a reporter says it, you're always going to be at the bottom of the barrel. You're always going to get shit on for that. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it, by the way. You are always just going to have a negative response. So I don't really have any big answers here. It is something that I feel does, I think there is a humanity to it. And I remember it was 2 weeks after 9/11. I was on campus and things had kind of slowed down. We had the United States had already begun the machinations of war against Afghanistan. The memorials were done. You know, everybody knew somebody who was in the tower because, again, there was such a gigantic, New York City feeder population. And I was watching the news in my dorm when I saw a memorial in New York City of people putting up missing posters on a wall, which is a bit of iconography that was very prevalent at the time. And it was like all of a sudden it hit me. The gravity of the event, the gravity of the death. It wasn't just a story. It was something that happened. It was something that very quickly could have, or very, very easily could have happened to my family. My cousin worked in the trade center and hadn't come into work by the time that everything happened. So it all hit me. In that one moment, I visualized my aunt and my uncle standing there putting up a missing poster of my cousin. And it was like, whoa, all this emotion, all this feeling, all of this empathy for the event and not just the story, all came rushing toward me. And I cried. I cried. And it was something that I hadn't felt before. I hadn't felt it as a story. So I say this to you only so there can be a greater window of empathy into the fact that the reporters that are doing this are not ghouls. They're not evil people. They are, by and large, good and decent human beings that are trying to bring greater clarity in a very, 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 very tough time. Nobody loves that part of the job. It's not Nightcrawler. It's just a terrible part of a challenging job. And it's the dark side of being tenacious, courageous people who can write on deadline. Anyway, we've got iPhone reviews coming up right now. Or right after this. This is the Justin Robert Young podcast. You can email the show, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. We'll be right back. Listen, I'm not going to say that was a good segue. I'm saying it's an impossible segue to make good, okay? I only have a board. I, by and large, do a fairly funny show. I do a fairly upbeat and silly show. For whatever reason, I decided to lead with that. That's my fault. I fucked up, and I have nothing else. I don't have the sad version of yakety sax. Although maybe, I'll tell you what, let's see which one would have been the worst out of all the options I have right here. Let me try it one more time, okay? We're gonna segue away from it right now, and that was the first moment that I cried. I saw in that moment I saw my aunt put up a missing poster of my cousin, and I cried because it wasn't a story; it was real life. iPhone 6 reviews right after this. See, that would have been bad. I think that would have been worse. I think that one would have been. Let's try it one more time. Here's one more. And it was at that time that I realized that the frailty of the human condition is something that transcends the ability to get the word out. And although it's a necessary part of reporting, no one ever likes it. That the fragility of the human condition is something that will always cast a dark pale over anything. iPhone 6 reviews coming up. That also would have been bad. That would have been pretty terrible. I have a board. I have a board here with just a bunch of things. So it's like I don't have any other options to go. And also it's like, would it be better if I spent the last time going into a heartfelt story about how I partitioned my brain into thinking of one of the greatest defining tragedies of my generation? If while I was doing that, I was absentmindedly fumbling through YouTube to try to find the sad Hulk music, would that have been better? If I was like, and that's why, my cousin could have died, and I realized that I had turned into someone that I didn't really like. Anyway, iPhone 6 reviews coming up. Like, that wouldn't have been any better. Carl says planning. Listen, I didn't mean for it to get that dark. I really meant for me to go on a rant about how I thought that Sam Biddle's post was not rad. I thought that it was like the biggest reason why people don't like journalists. For whatever reason, it got really dark and really personal. And now I've wasted half. Here's how I decided to segue. I decided to segue by doing a bad segue and then talking about my bad segue for another 5 minutes. Hopefully now we have kind of lightened the mood just a little bit. And we can now get into talking about the iPhone 6. DCTV says the music's not necessary. I do a one-man show. I need a moment to catch my breath. I just need to so I have. Oh my God! All right. I mean, how about this one? How about? And that's when I realized that 9/11 wasn't just a story; it was also an experience. That wouldn't have been good. And that's why 9/11 was terrible. That would have been, maybe we could have, that's why 9/11 wasn't great.
It's Charlie Angel. Time to go to work.
None of these are good options. None of these are good options at all. That's why 9/11 was bad. No. All right. I got the iPhone. I got the new iPhone. I'm so thrown off. I'm so thrown off. Oh my God. Nobody listening or watching would believe that I could be silenced. This has silenced me. I botched that fucking segue so bad. I worked so hard to set a mood, to bring you into my world, and now here's where I am. And this is, by the way, this is my fault. I don't know why I decided to put the fucking 9/11 story first. Why do you do the 9/11 story first? That is fucking one man, one mic podcast 101. You don't do that. It should have been last. But I had another serious thing for last, and I've got all sorts of, oh, jeez. I don't even know. I mean, I'll tell you. All right, fine. You want to know what? We're going open phones. Call me on Skype. Skype me right now. Justin Robert Young on Skype. I will take, this is a broken play, okay? I got other shit. I mean, listen, the iPhone's just fucking great. It's super awesome. It's faster than the old one. I'm really impressed with the fact that the Touch ID is ready for prime time. It's really fun. You can pretty much unlock your phone, making it a more secure device without adding any other extra security layer. I really like 3D Touch. I think it's a brand new interface that could bring another 10 years worth of navigational ease to the smartphone fucking universe, right? Okay, there's the iPhone review. Somebody, all right. I don't think you need to send me a friend request. I think you can probably just call me. But if you can't, I'll friend you here. Oh my God. What did I do? What a disaster. This is just a fucking disaster of a show. Ladies and gentlemen, the El Salvadorian Don. Hi, May. How you doing?
Hey, Justin. Pretty good.
So what's on your mind, buddy?
Dude, first of all, Texas is awesome.
Are you in Texas?
I am, and there's all kinds of meat. products and sauces and fat bacon, which is fantastic. On besides that, I think the music was okay. I think
Listen, we don't. That's the one thing we don't need. We don't need more conversation about the terrible segue. Like we've already spent half the show. I spent a quarter of the show talking about 9/11. Brilliant fucking idea for a fun, lighthearted show, jury. And then I spent the next quarter of it talking about how shitty of a decision it was because I decided to segue out of it with the fucking Princeton Tiger theme song, and now I don't need more calls on it.
okay.
So what else? Do you have anything else in the world that you want to talk? We can talk about anything else.
So yeah, meat. Texas is full of meat, apparently.
Okay, thank you, Jaime. Thank you for calling. Jeez, man, what a. And call back if you want to, Jaime. I'm taking it out on you guys, okay? This is just something that is weighing on me, and it's corroding into my skull and slowly eroding my brain, okay? I fucked up the 9/11 segue. Is there a better way? I mean, maybe I should have, I don't even know what this, jeez. Oh, jeez. I mean, is it just, could I have told a haiku or something? Is there another, what is the appropriate way? And also please donate to the Red Cross. Should I have ended it with that or just like me solemnly singing oh, that is, and that's the time that I realized that 9/11 was crazy. God bless America, land that I love. Like if it was like John Ashcroft and I'm just singing a cappella fucking songs of the American spirit, would that have been better? Would that have been a better segue? Oh my God. Lines are open. Justin Robert Young on Skype. Please feel free to give me, here we go. We've got all sorts of people. Maybe I can turn this off, but yeah, you're all welcome to give me a call and we can figure it out. Andrew Mays says, jury, don't talk about 9/11. People are still uptight about it. I wasn't telling like a fucked up story about 9/11. I was telling, it was a personal story about me during the tragedy. It was relevant. We had a news peg for it. It's a story I haven't really told, which by the way, when you've been on the fucking internet telling stories for 6-7 years, starts to get a little hard to tell these stories over and over and over and over again, or find stories that people have not already heard. Germ says, yes, do a haiku about 9/11. Listen, the only thing stopping me since I said that from doing a haiku about 9/11 is I'm never good about counting syllables. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. All right, I'm going to another segment. We got Neshcom. Neshcom in the chat room says, let's lighten this up a little bit. Let's talk about the Pope. Finally, we can talk about something not controversial. Can I ask a question to all my fellow atheists out there? I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. It's fine. I'm not like yelling and screaming about it. It's a personal decision. That's just me, okay? Whatever you want to do, I'm totally cool with. I'm an atheist. That's fine. But this is just to the fellow atheists. What do we fucking want out of the Pope? Can I ask a question? What do we want? That motherfucker's the head of the Catholic Church, not the super rad cool dude squad where he plays electric guitar and skateboards. All right? It's the Catholic Church. They got a lot of rules based on hundreds of years and a gigantic empire for which he needs to manage because the faith of his populace is behind him. And I know this is the rock and roll Pope. He's out there, he's talking about all these interesting, like social and climate change issues. He's like, thousands of years, not hundreds of years. I'm sorry, I'm an atheist. So he's out here and he's saying a lot of things that people who are of a more atheist or liberal mindset are like, yeah, you're great. So then he goes and makes friends with the Kim Davis lady, or meets the Kim Davis lady. And I know that the Vatican released a thing and said that, I don't know, she was just there and he just gave her a fucking dap, but it was with the left hand, which means that it's not as respected as giving dap with the right hand. I'm not interested in the particulars. I'm interested in when the story was. Let's just say, hypothetically, that he did meet with the lady in Kentucky who wouldn't issue the marriage licenses. And he was like, hey, really great job sticking up for your religion. I know he didn't say that. Let's say he did. If he did, what the fuck? Like, that would make sense. Except for the fact that she's not Catholic. That was always odd to me. But let's say that he did. Fine. There's a story I just read that apparently the Vatican sacked some dude because he's gay. Yeah, because in the Vatican, that's not a cool thing. Like, and that it's again, thousands of years of history and tradition for which he is now the fucking head of. Now, if you are Catholic and you have an issue with it, I'm totally cool with that because that is your team. I just want to know what atheists want out of this guy. Because, like, all the popes are the same to me. Rock and roll popes is the same as Nazi Pope, the last one. Nazi Pope was the same as old guy Pope that I only remember as a kid, the one before him. And I'm sure there were a million popes that were all had silly names like Beneficio and Innocent and, super rad dude McGirt. Like, I don't get it. I just don't know what people want out of that dude. My people, my tribe, my group, the atheists. I just don't know what would make everybody say rad to the Pope, except for the Pope to say, I'm atheist. At which point he'd be a really shitty Pope. He'd be a bad Pope. All right. Let's talk about The Martian. Martian's a movie. It stars Matt Damon. It came out. Everybody likes it critically, and it made a whole bunch of money. I liked it. I thought it was pretty rad, but I'm just in this. Again, here's another thing I just don't get. Why does everything have to be The Martian was great, so Gravity sucked? Why can't it be, I like to live in a world where there's rad space movies. Gravity was great. The Martian was great. Now, if you really want to get into a nitpicky game of film criticism, you can say, okay, well, I like these elements of Gravity. I didn't like these elements of The Martian, or vice versa. And so then people get into this, and this has been the fight du jour, and DCTV 91759 says, NASA says the science was legit, which brings us to why people say, oh, no, wait, I liked The Martian because it was real science. I fuck Gravity because it was fake science. I mean, it wasn't like Gravity was Alien, right? It wasn't like Gravity was Star Wars. It took liberties with elements of science to tell a story, which, by the way, so did The Martian. The Martian takes place on Ares 4, meaning that there had been 3 manned trips to Mars before Mark Watney gets his dumb ass stranded up there. I don't know if y'all are keeping track, but we have a grand total of goose egg trips to Mars so far. Brustleberry says, but when will the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park have feathers? Never. They're always going to look like weird dragons. There's always going to be something that's spinning the wrong fucking direction in a movie that even takes science very seriously. There's always going to be some big forward-reaching story, even in the most hard science of stories. The best we can do is enjoy the fucking movies and not have to get into everything, not have to make everything into a gigantic nerd flame war conflagration. At least that's my opinion. I'm going to talk about, as if this fucking show hadn't been heavy enough, I'm going to talk about an existential crisis that I've gone over in the last week and a half. I'll be right back. I've had this thing, and we're not gonna get into why, but lately I've had a bunch of people ask me, what do I want to do? Now, these are legitimate people who care about me, and they we're at interesting times, and they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I've had a hard time answering it because throughout my life, I've tried to keep, a fairly open mind on stuff. Like career-wise, I've always just kind of thought, well, let's just go where the work is and let's work hard and keep my head down and try to do the best I can. And hopefully, the path before me will be clear. But now, and I guess hopefully this is all good news, I'm at a point where I can kind of decide what I want to do. And I can look and have a vision for something and try to create it. But that question always kind of gets to me. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Because I don't think that like the idea that a big clarion vision pops into your head has ever been really real. Like, I think that, now it does happen to some people, and they're called visionaries, and they are looked upon as fucking gods, that they very, very clearly see what they want to do. The rest of us, I kind of feel like, are just squirrels looking around to see what nut just fell. And the smartest squirrels are the ones who understand where the nuts are falling and how to ration everything out as best as possible. But I don't know whether or not anybody else here has like some words of wisdom. Like, is there some element like go to sleep and, leave a rock under your pillow, and if your head hurts, then you should go one way, or like, I don't know. I mean, if this is this something that is understandable to other people? And even if you've got ideas, like, when are they smart to follow? And when are they dumb? Like, I'm sorry to be cryptic here because, I don't want to be, and I hate being cryptic, but it is something that, like, really has been kind of weighing on me. Because also, are you supposed to have that answer in your back pocket? Like, if somebody, like, should you just have a prepared fucking monologue for that? What do you want to do? Robot? I want to be a robot. What do you want to do? Policeman? What do you want to do? I want to... Because also, like, don't you feel like if somebody asks you that and you're not sufficiently grandiose that they're going to judge you? That they're going to be like, it's like, oh, like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. I want to be a garbage man. They'll be like, oh, really? Like, what do you want to do? I want to be president. It's like, well, that's stupid. That's too much. Too cold, too hot. You need a Goldilocks answer. This is like oh God, now I'm actually getting annoyed with this. This is an annoying question. What do you want to do? Now, the qualifier question is less annoying, but still hard. Like, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? What do you want to do in the next year? Although those I feel like I can answer because you're really just projecting out based on your current trajectory. It's the like, what do you want to do forever stuff that's always really weird. Let me know. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Hopefully we'll have some good questions on this next week. Let's go into your emails. Again, you can email this show, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JURY jury in the subject line. Nikki writes, hey, my boyfriend and I have been watching wrestling lately, and for some reason I figured you'd know. What do they put in wrestlers' hair, and why do they use so much of it? I understand that there might be a tactical advantage because no one likes being whacked in the face by oily spaghetti, but goddamn, they look icky. Any ideas? If not, that's cool. I actually do know the answer to this. Wrestlers' hair is always wet because they pour water on it. And they're like soaking wet because they just pour water on top of their head. The reason why they do it is because it is less likely to get pulled. And especially because a lot of wrestlers have long hair, it's very easy, gets caught up in things and pulled. It isn't so much if you dump a shit ton of water on it. So it's not gel, it's just water. Oh my God. All right. Jeez, this fucking episode. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm about to read this question. Like it was an out there question before we started the episode. Considering the fact that the topics here today have been in this order: 9/11, an awkward transition from 9/11, the iPhone 6 Plus, The Martian, and the Pope. It is now bizarre that I read, and I do it for you. I do it for you, the listener and viewer of this podcast. Because this email is insane. And it's not a bad question, I guess, per se. It's insane that it would be asked of me. As if I have an answer for it. From anonymous trans woman. Which I feel like is its own punchline. After that whole setup, just anonymous trans woman, let everybody fucking fill in what they believe this question to be. Because I totally feel that this is something that might even be better than what you think. Everybody get it in your heads. Get it in your heads. Anonymous trans woman asks me, Justin Robert Young, how do I get myself to accept that my asshole can be used as a sexual organ? All right. How do I get myself to accept that my asshole can be used as a sexual organ? This mindset is something that I'd really like to get deep into, but I can't seem to get my head in the right place. I don't know if that's a sexual double entendre. Any tips you have to help me ease into it would be greatly appreciated. I'm almost positive that the person that wrote this in just wanted me to read it on the air. And if it weren't for the fact that it's somebody that it was not a stranger, I would not have read it on the air. I am reading it on the air for this. Okay. All right. We have people here in the chat room that are saying actual stuff, dildo training, jelly dildo. Oh my God. Ah, Jesus. Oh my God, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck? That's a phrase I just used. Jelly dildo training. I just want to cut out screenshot this episode and send it to all my journalism professors. I feel like this is the best episode I've ever done of the show. This is, like, I might quit doing the show. This is so fucking good. I might quit doing it. This is a fucking eloquent train wreck. Okay. How do I get myself to accept that my asshole could be used as a sexual organ? We have somebody in the chat room. Neshcom in the chat room says that dildo training, work your way up. And of course, how to accept your asshole as a sexual organ? The same way you get to Carnegie Hall. Practice, practice, practice. This is something I don't even know why I read it. Like, I literally have zero understanding of what would go into that and the psychology behind it. I understand that it is definitely an issue, and I normally have a point for everything, but I do not. Oh my God, this next fucking email. I forgot that I put this. I laid myself the most bizarre fucking episode ever. I have to read it now, right? Like, I have to read. I can't just not read it. I mean, just understand that we are swinging again wildly from where we were before. We now swing back into the very serious. Mike writes, listen, and this email was more heavy before I cut the first part. Mike had mentioned that he has a history of suicidal attempts. He has rebounded from his depression. He writes, for those who are depressed, things are never as bad as they seem. Fuck, oh my God, what the... what am I doing? Like, is this good? Is this a decent show? Like, do we want to read a story about depression or an email about depression? Do we want to talk about depression after we talk about jelly dildo asshole training? Is this good? Is this me spitting on everybody? Or is this just like the most bizarre show that's ever happened? All right, fuck it. You want to know what? Fuck. All right, here we go. Mike writes, for those who are depressed, things are never as bad as they seem. I was born with a form of facial paralysis called Mobius syndrome. I'm just going to read it. I can't smile or make any facial expressions. As a result of this, I've never been in a romantic relationship. For whatever reason, now I'm reading it in this weird tone of voice. I can't even get into like serious reading voice. Because normally, when I read serious emails, I read them like this. For those who are depressed, things are never as bad as they seem. I was born with a form of facial paralysis called Mobius syndrome. But I can't read that right now. I'm too fired up because this episode's so weird that I'm reading it like I'm about to fucking do a Micro Machines ad. Like I'm trying to sell you on coming in and buying an electric toaster. For those depressed, electric toasters on sale, $34.95. It's the Labor Day electric toaster sale. We've got so many fucking toasters. All right, here we go. Back to Mike. Mike, yes, I'm a virgin at the age of 38. Fuck me. Hell, I've never kissed a woman once. I've only kissed a woman once when we were both drunk and then never heard from her again. Usually the way things go is I meet someone nice, we get along as friends, there's some flirting, I attempt to take it to the next level of coffee and a talk, and I never hear from them again. I know it's my lack of self-confidence that's probably hurting me the most, and faking it isn't my style, but I'm trying. I just wish that sometimes we as a population could be more truthful with others when it comes to dealing with one another. Rather than just run away and never talking to me again, I would at least wish that women would tell me why they never want to see me again when an attempt to get closer is made. It would do wonders for my anxiety. I don't share this for pity or to make people feel guilty for being depressed or whatever. I share it because it might help some people to be reminded that there's always someone worse off than you. It might not make you feel better, but it can at least give you more perspective. I may have been born without a face, so to speak, but and will probably never know true love, but I could be homeless or a million other worse things. Sometimes it helps to think of perspectives. Sometimes it doesn't, but we have to all use these tools at our disposal when battling this disease called depression. Thanks for reading what was intended to be a quick note and got out of control. Thanks for an awesome show. No, Mike, Your life could be worse. You could be doing a show about fucking 9/11 that includes the phrase asshole training with jelly dildos. That could be your life. It's not. It's mine. I'm the one wallowing in the muck right here, twisting in the wind on live internet television. For real though, Mike, this is not terrible. Okay, you're not in a terrible situation. The good news for you, Mike, is that you were born in 2015 and not 1815. If you were born in 1815, you would have been fucked. You're not. You're born in you're living in 2015. You're 38 years old. You're moving into the prime of your motherfucking life. All you need to do is understand that you got to get out of your own way. You might think, but I am. You're not. Not if you're writing that email. Number 2, do a little bit more internet flirting. All right? Online dating. I don't mean this Tinder fucking hookup tonight bullshit. Get yourself on an eHarmony or something like that. Seem like a sweet guy. Get a little back and forth when it's just personality to personality, and then go right in to the coffee and the talking. See, you're putting a lot of pressure, a lot of resentment in people that might just on their end feel that there's a misconnection. It's awkward to tell people that. And you probably are a nice guy, which is why people aren't like, hey, fuck you. I really don't like your shit. You know, like they probably don't want to hurt your feelings. It's fine. It's good. Probably means you're a good person. So go ahead on online dating. Work up to this by way of going back and forth via text. And then you can get right to a nice little flirting and coffee situation. See, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Oh, man, I'll tell you, I'm feeling good. Oh, shit. I'm feeling great. Yeah. I rebounded. That was a rough and tumble one, baby. We were fucking, we were vibrating, right? Like fucking Captain Picard brought that shit back to stability. No need to panic. I didn't freak out. It's a little rough waters. Back to smooth sailing. One final email. This one comes in from Casper. He writes, Dear Justin, please use this on the show. Question. Why do dogs lick their nuts? Answer. Because they know they're licking your face next. Find this podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, or some other shit. Email me, JustinRobertYoung@gmail. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat @JustinRYoung. You can support this program at patreon.com/JURY. And of course, hashtag join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Politics Podcast is available on my SoundCloud. I'll have an RSS feed up this week. Follow me on all the previously mentioned social networks if you want to get that. Contender. Politically incorrect decks are out. However, you can still pre-order and get on our mailing list this week. We got some rad shit coming out, including how you can raise $142,000 for your card game on Kickstarter. We're putting all the information out there. If you just read a story about 9/11 and then transitioned with awkward music, if you then panicked and freaked out and tried to cover it up by yelling and screaming, if you then yelled about the Pope because that always is smart, if you then read about asshole training with jelly dildos, only to segue into a 38-year-old virgin who believes he'll never find true love, only to finish the show with a joke about dogs licking their own nuts and kissing you on the face, then I tell myself, I'm Justin Robert Young, and please don't die!
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Goodbye, cruel world.